Hello, I have a confession to make to you. I'm middle class. Now, that isn't as simple as it sounds because it occasionally poses something of a problem for me because you see, every so often, a little bit of middle class pops up unbidden from the depths of my subconscious. And I was never more aware of it than when I was reading this article here about the situation in Rotherham. The situation. Remember, I have to be a bit imprecise in my language in the first few minutes of a video that's going to be posted on YouTube. So don't think I'm being mealy-mouthed about this. It's YouTube that's the problem. Also, grok. But I'm going to talk about grok in a separate video. Watch this space. Okay, so back to my middle class reaction to this story. I'll tell you all about it when I've told you that I'm granniopteryx. I'm not monetizing this video on YouTube. The other platforms, they put advertising in there. It's beyond my control. But on YouTube, I can opt out of adverts. And I'm doing that because I'm going to be talking about subjects that YouTube doesn't like. And I don't want to have to pull my punches. For that reason, it would be nice if you could make some financial contribution. If you use YouTube Superthanks, you can give a very small amount. But as the supermarket has it, every little helps. The other platforms, there's PayPal, Subscribestar, and Buy Me a Coffee. All the links are in the description. And if you're not financially contributing, that's cool. You can still really help me by clicking like and by sharing and of course by subscribing. Also, any snoring sounds you may be hearing in the background are coming from the dog. Right, back to my middle class reaction to this awful story. You see, well, I'm going to read some of it out to you to give you an idea of the horror of this entire situation. And it really is horrific. Women abused as children by Rotherham gangs say police also sexually assaulted them. 5 women who were exploited by grooming gangs in Rotherham as children say they were also abused by police officers in the town at the time. One says she was raped from the age of 12 by a serving South Yorkshire police officer in a marked police car. He would threaten to hand her back to the gang if she did not comply, she says. In a world where you were being abused so much, being raped once by a police officer was a lot easier than multiple rapes by the gang. And I think he knew that, she tells the BBC. At least 1,400 children were abused by men in Rotherham between 1997 and 2013. The landmark report by Professor Alexis J found in 2014. That's over 10 years ago. And the situation still hasn't been resolved, by the way. From the evidence we read and heard, the majority of victims identified their perpetrators as being of Pakistani heritage, Professor J told us. A new criminal investigation into the involvement of police officers in the Rotherham grooming scandal is now being led by South Yorkshire Police's Major Crime Unit under the direction of the police watchdog. So, let's get this straight. South Yorkshire Police were colluding, either cooperating with the gangs or actually taking advantage of the girls themselves. South Yorkshire Police were doing this. And now South Yorkshire Police is conducting the investigation into that. I wish they'd let me mark my own homework at school. Professor J has told the BBC she's shocked that South Yorkshire Police is investigating, this keyboard's getting in the way, is investigating its own former officers and says the criminal investigation should be handed over to another force or an independent body. Yeah, I'm up for the job. Frankly, I am. One of the women, Willow, not her real name, of course, says she was sexually abused by hundreds of men over 5 years after first being targeted as an 11-year-old in 1997 by a grooming gang. 2 police officers also sexually abused her, she says. Over 3 years, one of the South Yorkshire police officers would repeatedly track her down and pick her up in a police car in Rotherham town centre. He knew where we used to hang out. He would request either oral sex or rape us in the back of the police car, she tells the BBC. If she tried to refuse his requests, he would even contact the grooming gang directly to threaten her. And then Willow said, I would rather be raped once or give one man oral sex than to be taken elsewhere where I know it'd be 15 or 20 guys, one after the other. That was just easier, she says. Just let that sink in a bit. This is a girl who started when she was 11. She might be talking about being 13 here. 12 or 13. Of the 30 women who gave their accounts to Switalski's solicitors, only 17 have agreed to give to their testimony being given to the police. Some of the remaining potential witnesses have withdrawn from the South Yorkshire police investigation, say the solicitors, with some saying they don't trust the force or have lost faith in the justice system. Well, I wonder why. South Yorkshire Police investigating South Yorkshire Police and those girls who still live in that area and still have to interact with the police from time to time and don't want to have their names put forward in court. Well, you could knock me down with a feather. Why on earth would they do that? It's beyond belief, the accounts we've heard, says Amy Clowry from Switalski's, who has been collecting testimony of alleged police abuse, corruption and misconduct in Rotherham for 10 years. OK, so now you could call it a dirty little secret in a way. I have to admit to you that when I got to that bit about the police officer joining in on the abuse of the girls, I had a dreadful thought just flash into my mind. It was sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but it was sort of like relief. Yeah, I know that's very weird, but I'm being honest with you. I thought, well, I don't know exactly what I thought, but I suppose it was something like, so I'm not a racist after all. It's not just the Pakistanis who were doing this. At least South Yorkshire Police are staying true to their reputation of being corrupt and venal, and some just as bad as those Pakistani rape gang sons of 1,000 fathers. No, it was also white Brits who, as police officers, were abusing their position of trust. It was sort of a relief, in a funny sort of horrible way. Then I scrolled down the article and saw a photo of the policeman in question. Willow also says that both officers who abused her, including this guy, Willow also says that both officers were also involved in supplying drugs. OK, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.